If you know you have a good product and maybe you're not so great at the marketing, don't let that stop you. Keep with it. Don't stop, because if you've got something good, you do have to figure it out though.
Yeah.
You do have to figure it out, but keep going.
Noah helps people make money. Since 2009, he's helped coaching clients add over $109 million in sales. His works have been published by Hay House, HarperCollins, Mind Valley, Nightingale Conant, and the Chicken Soup for the Soul publisher. He's a highly in-demand keynote speaker, famous for inventing affirmations, a new technology of the mind, and helping people make more money and have more fun. He's also the author of 14 books that have been translated into 12 languages. So we like to start by going back. We just talked about how successful you've been over the years. But if you could go back and have your younger self, or your older self rather, tell your younger self, something smart, what would it be?
Well, I sure have a lot of advice for that young man, because I started my company, SuccessClinic.com, in 1997 in my college dorm room with $800 and a book on how to do HTML. So I've literally been doing this for 2 decades. I own, SuccessClinic.com actually is one of the original personal development websites on the internet. Believe it or not, I'm 7 months older than Google. Seriously.
Whoa.
So, I mean, we're talking dial-up, you remember? I mean, all that stuff. And so I've been doing this a long, long time. And I just really had a dream. I had a real strong desire to help people, to make a difference. I discovered some things in the personal growth space that people weren't really talking about back then. And frankly, they're still not really talking about it in a way that I feel is helping people. And so a lot of people come to me after they've spent tens of thousands of dollars, even over $100,000 on, all the gurus, all the big names out there, but yet they're still stuck. And so they come to me and they go, hey, Noah, I hear you're the guy that helps people get unstuck and helps people make money. As you mentioned, it's actually up to $500 million now that we've helped people make, our clients. We're 6, 7, and yes, 8-figure increases. Literally just helping them to implement some simple procedures. And so, to answer your question about what I would tell my younger self, first of all, I would say you've really got to master this whole thing called marketing. Because as you just talked about in your keynote here at Entrepalooza, I'm just a real big fulfillment guy.
Yeah.
I love making people happy. Yeah. I love taking care of people. I love making them beyond happy. I love making them thrilled, like making them a hell of a lot of money.
Yeah.
They're pretty happy about that. But I honestly really believe that whole cliche that we hear a million times, do what you love and the money will follow. That is the biggest lie that's out there.
Yeah.
And that took me years to figure it out, because everybody says it. Oh, do what you love and the money will follow. I said, okay, well, I'm doing what I love. Where's the money?
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that they're really lying when they say that. And what's true is, do what you love. That part's right.
Yeah.
But then you have to show people how, why, and that doing what you love will help them.
Yeah.
Then the money comes.
Yeah.
I wish I would have figured that out a long time ago, because that took me a year. Because I'm going, man, I'm doing all this great work. Where's the money?
Yeah.
And so that was really annoying, and it took me way too long to figure that one out.
How long did it take you?
Well, honestly, the first 10 years, I never broke 6 figures.
Yeah.
So from 1997 to 2007, I never broke 6 figures. So after 10 years of hard work and making a difference for people and helping a lot of people, I ended up $40,000 in credit card debt working on my parents' basement.
Yeah.
So try that one on for size.
Wow.
I was like, yeah, this sucks. What the heck is going on here? And so that was when I knew I had to do something different. We hear that all the time. I mean, what's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing, expect a result. So I said, no, you've got to do something different. And that was when I made a decision that really changed everything, which was I hired my first real mentor. And so that was someone who was where I wanted to be and could show me how to get there.
Yeah.
In this industry, we really get it's very seductive when you get those people, and you actually even mentioned this in your talk also, is about these sort of overnight successes, or here's what I did, and you even said it, and then you tried and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And that's why is that? I kept scratching my head, because I'm going, I'm paying these guys all this money. Where's my success?
Yeah.
And it's because they don't have a system. It's all dependent on their personality. And once you take that person out of the equation, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And again, that took me way too long to figure out. So the point is, what we have is SuccessClinic.com. I mean, we have a system that works irrespective of personality. That's why I'm just a real shy introvert. My idea of excitement is curling up with a good book.
Yeah.
And just going to the bookstore, go to the library, read books, boring, right? When you have a system, then it doesn't matter whether you're an introvert, extrovert, whatever. Yes. And that it really is mostly personality dependent. Yeah. And so hiring that mentor, that was the thing that turned it around for me. And then, we've basically doubled or tripled every year since then.
Yeah. I got a couple questions about this. So
sure.
not to focus on the sort of the dark night of your soul overly much, but I think that, I certainly also took a long time trying to figure it out. We were 5 years in before we had any real traction at all. And that was actually after I had already had a significant success in another kind of career. And so I was used to actually doing pretty well. And then all of a sudden it was like just wall after wall after wall. I mean, 10 years is a long time.
Yeah.
Why didn't you quit?
What I mentioned earlier was that I had these two epiphanies in 1997. When I literally realized what was not being taught in the personal development industry, and I'm the guy that literally filled in the gaps. That's why, as you mentioned again in your opening, that I'm actually the only author in history that's ever had his works published by Hay House, HarperCollins, Simon & Schuster, Mind Valley, Nightingale Conant, and the Chicken Soup for the Soul publisher. Now the reason that happened is because I figured this stuff out, and it was literally just like an epiphany, and I knew I was right. But I didn't know if I was right. You know what I mean? You think you know it, but you're like, I hope I'm right. I think I'm right, but and I didn't have anybody to test it on except myself.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
but when the world tells you no for 10 years, like, how come you?
Well, but it didn't. See, it was just that I was a sucky marketer. I just sucked at marketing. And I knew that because I was getting results for my clients.
I see.
But see, it wasn't result for me because of sucky marketing. And I knew that was the only hurdle I had.
Yeah.
It wasn't the product. The product was fantastic. The delivery was unbelievable. I mean, my clients were making a ton of money.
Yeah.
And I'm going, where's my money?
Yeah.
And it was because of that piece that was missing.
So it was the feedback from the market that kept you going.
Absolutely.
You're just like, I got to figure out how to turn this into a business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I just have to figure out marketing. That's when I hired that mentor.
Yeah.
Was basically, and I know this is really embarrassing, but I didn't know what the word monetize meant. Even as late as 2007. I literally, I'm like, what's monetize mean?
Yeah.
How naive is that? I mean, how dumb. And here I am doing all this stuff. I'm going, you got to monetize. What does that mean? Duh. You know what I mean? So. It was really hard.
Yeah, well, it is. So I got another question.
Sure.
And you talked about a system that takes your sort of personality out of the thing, but systems kind of like only work if you follow them.
Exactly.
And where do you find the sort of like the discipline to follow a system?
It all comes down to your why to's and why not to's. This is something, again, you asked that question, and that's what I was getting to, is that it comes down to your why to's and why not to's. Anything that we are faced with as humans, we have a decision to make, right? And every decision we face comes down to your why to's and why not to's. The reasons why to do the thing versus the reasons why not to do the thing. Like right now, and this is something I always say at my live events, I say, right now we could all take off all our clothes and run screaming down the street. Why don't we do that? Because we don't really want to do that, right? There's a lot of reasons not to do that, but you could do it.
Yeah.
You could all do it right now. Well, why don't we do that? Because we have why not to's of doing that, see? But the reason that I kept going was my why to's. I knew, like I said, I knew I was right, and I knew I just didn't have the marketing in place. And so you're right about the discipline comes from your why to's.
Yeah.
So the reason you stuck with it, for example, as you just shared, the hitting the wall after wall, you obviously had a why to.
Yeah.
You had a deep desire. In my case, it was just, number one is I like being right. And I like being, told that I'm right. Kind of like most people, I think. Like, we just love to hear you were right.
Yeah.
And that's like, wow, that's like better than money. It's like, really? It just makes you feel so good. But my point is that even when you're not getting that feedback from the world, from the market, if you still know you're right, then that, for me, is what kept me going.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's never been about the money for me, although I'm like, well, you need the money too.
Yeah.
You got to have both.
Yeah.
But I've never been money motivated.
Yeah.
See, the other thing that I see in this industry, sadly, is that a lot of the people who are dominating, who are taking up all the air in the room, are really motivated by money. And they're really good at making money, but they're not really great at helping people. And they're not, that's why a lot of people, after spending a ton of money, come to me, and then they start to get unstuck, and that's when they really have that explosion.
Yeah. So tell me about so marketing. You figured it out.
Sure.
What's working today in your business? What's like the hot thing in your business for?
What's really nice is webinars. And you spoke about webinars also, and that's why I really enjoyed your keynote here at Entrepalooza. But the evergreen webinars are really going well, and it really again, it took a long time for me to figure out the message.
Yeah.
Because what's so funny, and I just have to say this, is that for years and years I tried to sell people what they need.
Yeah.
And it finally, after a long time of failure and struggle, I finally realized people don't buy what they need; they buy what they want.
Yeah.
And that was like the big aha for me. And again, see, this is all marketing stuff. This isn't about the product. The product was perfectly perfect.
Yeah.
But it was the description of the product.
Yeah.
And that's I saw other people who were great persuaders, great salesmen, really slick and had all the pieces, but then the thing sucked. And it's like, damn it, And they got more attention because they're better at getting attention. So my message for the folks watching is, if you know you have a good product and maybe you're not so great at the marketing, don't let that stop you. Keep with it. Don't stop, because if you've got something good, you do have to figure it out, though. You do have to figure it out, but keep going, I guess would be my message.
Awesome. So what are you learning right now? What is your kind of cutting edge? What's new for you?
Well, I'm really enjoying this Entrepalooza experience, and I certainly can recommend it for everybody watching. If you haven't been to one, make sure you come. But, like, for example, there's talking about Messenger, Facebook Messenger, or chat, chat bots. We're going to be instituting that. It's so funny. I mean, that's literally what's right up in our company right now. And there's somebody on stage talking about it. I'm like, see, that's great. I love it. And, already giving insights that we didn't know. So I was like, ooh, that's really good. So we're going to be instituting that. And, we do our own live events. That's going very well. And, coaching and mentoring. I mean, just kind of keeping scaling up, really.
And when you think back, kind of like, or think forward, say, towards the end of your career or your life, looking back, what would you like your legacy to be?
I've felt my mission has been to eliminate not enoughness from the world. Most human problems, they come from a belief that we humans carry around that we're not enough. And then when you believe you're not enough, that causes other problems. And that makes people lash out and bullies. And again, you could just like point to almost every problem as from not enoughness. So, certainly when I work with entrepreneurs, that's one of the things that we work on, is we call it the inner game. What happens in your head, I call it your head trash, And that's my latest book is actually called Get Rid of Your Head Trash About Money. And, folks can get that for free on our website. But my point is that most people are in a place of fear, which means not enough. When you're coming from fear, that is never going to work. It's never going to cause the earth to be a happier place. But when you're coming from enough, you're coming from love. And that, there's no question that can't help but make the world a better place. So that's what I'd like my legacy to be.
Awesome. So tell us your website where we can get that book.
Sure. Well, the main website is successclinic.com. That's our main website, or just noahstjohn.com, my name. But if you want to get the book, it's called Get Rid of Your Head Trash About Money. You can go to sendmeabooknoah.com. Sendmeabooknoah.com. Very easy to remember.
Awesome. So we call this thing Modern Entrepreneur. What do you feel like the sort of responsibilities and opportunities are that are unique to kind of our moment in history as entrepreneurs?
I think it comes back to what I just said a moment ago, which is that we do have, Uncle Ben said in Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. And I've always believed that. And we do have great power with this amazing, infuriating tool called the internet. And that's all it is. It's just a tool. It is the greatest communication tool that's ever been devised by humans. And one of the wonderful things is it levels the playing field. That, somebody working in their basement can be just as big as some huge Fortune 500 company. I mean, in terms of what they put out to the world. In the sense of value. That, I feel, is the responsibility, is to bring actual value. I'm kind of on a quest right now, I guess you could call it a mission, because so many people come to me and they've been ripped off. They've been ripped off by the hucksters, the salesmen, the con artists, and I really hate that. It makes me mad, it makes me angry, because I've been ripped off, and I'm pretty sure most people have been at this point, and that's sad, and it makes me mad. And so I really want to say, for me, for my clients, for the folks I interact with, okay, we must bring actual value so that we can get rid of those guys, at least lessen their impact. And so I feel that may be our greatest responsibility at this time.
Well, Noah, it's been a total pleasure. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Would you mind signing our wall?
Oh, of course, I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
Absolutely.